Hey everybody, welcome to Hump Day Hangouts, episode 56. Today is hopefully going to be humorous because I'm laughing and that makes no sense to you because we just started. But it is the 2nd of December and we got the full crew here. So how's it going, everybody?
Hey yo,
Hey, Hernan, how's it going?
Hey guys, hey everyone. It's really good to be here.
All right, Marco, what's up?
hey man, what's up? What's up, everybody?
Hey, Bradley, what's going on, man?
Hey guys, it's December. Can you believe it? Christmas is coming and it's almost the end of the year and this has been a crazy year. So wow, and we've had a couple weeks off. Well, actually, we did one last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
It's kind of a
Yeah.
blur. So
Yeah, and I think just to correct me if I'm wrong, we haven't laid out the schedule set in stone yet, but I think we're going to hit every Wednesday in December. Let me see if I'm lying here. Well, we got one on the 23rd and the 30th, so we're going to have at least 4 episodes, I think, this month, right?
okay, cool.
Yeah, not going to put us on the hook for more than that. We may have more. So,
Yeah, we might do 5, but we'll see.
good deal. All right, well, everyone, I just wanted to tell you real quick. If you haven't, I'll put the link up there. I know a lot of you. I have a
This is
crazy.
live. This is so everybody knows we're live, man.
That is awesome. There's a very aggravated cat who is shortly going to go outside in the rain. All right. Anyways, I was going to talk about SerpSpace real quick. I know a lot of you have already signed up, but something we wanted to tell people about was just that it's a free account to sign up, and we're going to start doing a better job of explaining what exactly SerpSpace is to new people, how they can use it, and then the services offered. Because we've been slowly ramping it up. We kind of brought it in September when we first started offering the network management services, and now that we've got Video Powerhouse and we're looking to bring the link building, the network building in there.
Press releases.
Press releases, citations, and then we're going to go from there. So it's going to kind of be the services area. All right, so I just want to make that clear in case there's any confusion for people, and I know at first it wasn't real clear. But the big part of that is it's free to sign up. We just do that so that you have your own little dashboard, so you can go inside and see stuff. And we're working on getting some testing accounts for people, so you can at least check out the network management. And then from there, the rest of the services I think are fairly explanatory or self-explanatory. But again, I'll put the link in there. Just pop over, sign up, and check it out.
Yeah, and we got. I mean, like Adam said, we've got a lot of additional services that we're going to be adding to SerpSpace. I mean, it's being worked on now. So we've got the press releases, citations, the link building service, being able to order networks and have them delivered right inside of SerpSpace, so that they'll actually be delivered and added to your management account automatically. It'll have support within there as well. I mean, it's going to be like a one-stop dashboard for SEO services. Based on how we do things, and so I think that's going to be a lot of value inside there, and just make it easy for everybody. That said, I know press releases, when we open that up soon, very soon. I'm going to be doing some training on that as well. There will probably we might even do an entire course on press release training. I haven't even talked about it with you guys, partners, yet, but I think that it's something that we should pursue, because how to use press releases properly for SEO, to not just for SEO, that's a big part of it, but also for driving traffic, also for using them or for finding clients for press releases, just various things on how to use press releases and get work out of it and generate revenue from them as well. So I think it's something that I'm gonna end up doing. There will be kind of like a free tier version of the training, which will be included inside of SerpSpace, so that it will educate potential buyers of press releases on how they work. And how to use them properly. But then I'm thinking about doing like a premium training product for press releases as well. So that's something that we'll discuss a little bit further on when we get that opened up, which
Awesome.
again is coming very soon. So
Cool. Yeah, we're also going to be having some like case studies type stuff coming out, because we're going to, along with Video Powerhouse, we're looking at a lot of services we can integrate. Obviously, it's a great thing to use with your syndication networks. Obviously, go out to your syndication network first, then you can use Video Powerhouse. Last week we talked about using crowd search. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and then with the updates to IFTTT training that's going to be coming out, and then the version 2 of that training, there's going to be some really powerful kind of integrations going on there.
speaking of that, very briefly, so I switched over, and part of what the updates were going to be for IFTTT, the current SEO Academy, I was going to do some update videos. I'm still going to do some update videos because there's a couple platforms that need to be updated. But Google Plus, the new Google Plus, guys, if you've already opted for the new Google Plus, switch back to Classic. There's just too many damn bugs in the new interface. There's things that are missing in the new interface. Like, for example, there's no events anymore, events pages in the new interface, at least not yet. I had to go to the Google Plus help forum to get answers on that because I had switched over too. So I'm sticking with Classic until I'm absolutely forced to go over to it, or until they get all of the regular features that we've come to know inside of it. Now, that said, there's a couple other changes that will be addressed as well, because in time everything's going to be switched over to the new platform. But I'll be covering those as needed. And then what I'm saying is the updates for the IFTTT SEO Academy aren't going to be comprehensive on the new Google Plus platform yet, because we still have the ability to use Classic, and I would say continue using Classic until they get all the bugs worked out of the new interface. Essentially, it's in beta right now, and that was confirmed to me today in the Google Plus help forum from one of the people that work for Google. They said that it was in beta, so that there's going to be some bugs and things that aren't even there yet that will be integrated eventually. So I just want to make that little announcement.
Cool. Well, hey, I wanted to say something real quick. Robert just posted something on there, and we generally don't do a lot of testimonials, although we just had a killer one in the mastermind. But Robert put on here, he said, I bought the Twitter SEO Academy not knowing what I might get. I figured it would be pretty good because of the source. Well, let me tell you, ... the level of high-quality information in this course is well worth the price of admission. One of the better SEO learning purchases ever. Way to go, guys. So
nice.
Thank you very much, Robert.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool.
Yeah, and we'll pass that on to that British guy. So I think he'll be happy to hear about it.
Dr. Gary. All right,
yeah,
let me.
I think somebody was calling him the British guy, so we'll pass it on to Dr. Gary.
There we go. That's his new nickname, the British guy. The Brit from across the pond, right? All right, you guys ready? Let's do this. We got several questions already.
Cool.
You guys see my screen okay?
Yep.
All right, Michael Wheaton says, I'm sorry?
No, you're good to go.
Okay.
Did you activate cameraman?
Yeah, we should be good. Michael Wheaton says, hope everyone had a great Turkey Day. I also hope not drifting too deep into the weeds here, so here it is. If I'm creating 50-plus subdomain local niche sites, each focused in different geographic locations for rank and rent, and all of which originate from one parent domain, do I treat each subdomain as a complete separate website apart from the parent domain with its own money site, curated content, and IFTTT Network, or can I use the same money site curated content source and IFTTT Network used for the parent domain and treat the subdomains more like pages? I'm doing local niche plus city plus neighborhoods. Okay. There are 55 neighborhoods in the city, and each neighborhood is a subdomain. Wow, that's getting very granular. If I'm confused, yeah, Michael, I don't know that I would do that. That's way too complicated, honestly, because the problem with that kind of a setup is you're going to have so many WordPress installations to maintain to target that city, and it's really unnecessary. If you were going to target multiple cities within the same state, for example, then that's a great way to use subdomains, in my opinion. But to target neighborhoods, and each neighborhood is a subdomain, yeah, that's getting a bit too. That's too much. I wouldn't recommend that. Instead, I would just silo the site out. I would build the site around the city, so it would be basically on one domain or one subdomain, and then I would build out silos for each neighborhood. Okay, and that's how I would do it, because again, otherwise you're going to be maintaining 55 sites to just cover one city, and that's really not sustainable. That's not something that you'll be able to scale. In other words. Okay, so I don't recommend that you do that. However, I mean, if you choose to do it anyways, then I would recommend, especially because you're on such a hyper-local level at that point, you could just use the same IFTTT network for all of them. But consider this as well. If you were to do that with the 55 subdomains, again, just targeting one city, that would be essentially you'd have to set up the recipes for your IFTTT network for 55 subdomain RSS feeds. Right, so if there's 15, recipes that we set up in IFTTT, now you got to multiply that times 55 for that one IFTTT count. And I don't know off the top of my head, that's got to be somewhere around 800 recipes, right? That's overkill. Like, it's just, to me, it's not. I wouldn't do it. Let's put it that way. Again, I would target one city with the subdomain. I would build it on the subdomain, not the root, and then I would use silo structure to build out the rest. Right? Then there is Plan B: scrape all of the above. Scrap all of the above and just rank and rent one website for an entire city. Not as much profit potential, but boatloads less time consuming and hassles. Actually, you can have just as much profit potential because you can customize each page. For example, if you wanted to sell, let's say it's a big city, and apparently it is. If it's got 55, boroughs or whatever, you could customize each page and sell each page, different pages to different, or rent different pages to different service providers, for example. So it doesn't have to be all under one. I mean, you could essentially make each page like a landing page, which you could put separate graphics on, separate branding, separate contact information if you wanted. I mean, that's one thing that you could do. Okay? And it would be a hell of a lot easier to manage. That's for sure.
Yeah, Michael, I'd be curious too if you come back to us once you do this, how you end up monetizing it and how it works out for you, just to let people know.
On a side note, since I have your attention, one last question. Can I build a Tier 1 branded IFTTT network and a Tier 1 persona network to the same money site? I don't recommend that, Michael. I don't recommend that at all. For YouTube channels, that's fine. But for websites or blog syndication, I don't recommend doing that. I recommend sticking with just your branded network. Pardon me for a second. I got Google Voice calling in. Let me hang up on it. Get out of here. Okay. So let's see. Would this be just as effective but less of a headache than managing Tier 2 network to your money site? This would avoid complications of having to add extra relevant RSS feeds to hide the money site RSS feed and the risk of over-optimized keyword links, etc. Thanks for your input, guys. No, I mean, again, to be honest with you, I'd probably, it depends on how many other sites you manage, Michael. If you're just managing the one site, which it looks like this is going to be kind of like your pet project for a bit, then having a two-tiered network is fine. And just adding the additional content feeds in for Tier 2 triggers, I would recommend that. If you're managing more than just one site though, or just a handful of sites, then I don't recommend doing that. I recommend just sticking with one IFTTT network branded Tier 1 network and then juicing the hell out of that. Because again, there is more management involved with the Tier 2 networks, and if you're only managing one or two or a handful of sites, then it's feasible, But if you've got 10 plus sites or dozens of sites, as many of us do, then it's really not recommended to do it that way. It's better just to stick with the Tier 1 branded network, and then you just work on boosting the Tier 1 network as much as possible. Okay. Anybody else want to chime in on that?
I think you nailed it. I would do the same. For most of the cases, for local, in my opinion, with just one juiced up network, you will be just fine.
Yep. Yep, for most local stuff, that's all you need. Remember, the key, Michael, is to have a blog that you consistently post to. That's one of the main components of this working properly, is not just having the IFTTT network. That in and of itself is not enough. It's consistent blog posting, scheduled, frequent publishing on it, and using the blog as your basic your link building tool for the other pages on your site. And so that's going to require frequent updates, frequent posts. But over time, and depending on your frequency, if you have a high frequency, it'll take less time. If you have a low frequency, it's going to take more time. That's going to help you to rank, and that's why it's important to juice your network, your branded network, because the more you post to it, the more links are going to be pointing back to your money site and the pages that you're building the contextual links from within the post body to, and that's going to have all that juice funneling in from your powered up network. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, let's make sure the screen is on me. All right, Sky says, is there a sandbox for new Vimeo accounts? I created an account, uploaded 2 videos, and 5 days later, not indexed by Google. I embedded the video on a web page that I know was crawled by Google, did a Google Plus post and a Twitter tweet with the URL and the video on the same day the videos were uploaded. In the past, this method has always worked with YouTube, and all videos get indexed in a day or less. A friend of mine did a Fiverr gig for 50 video beds on crappy 2.0s like Blog Post or Blogspot, which is Blogger, Delicious, Digo, and didn't notice any ranking change with the video. I think Google ignores these types of sites when trying to pass link juice to a website, but it seems to have always worked with videos. Any change on the algo? Okay, as far as Vimeo, I don't know if Vimeo has a sandbox. I doubt it. I mean, because it wouldn't be Vimeo itself; it would be Google not indexing it, right? And I don't know that I've never had that issue. I created a brand new Vimeo account for the last when I did a LaunchJack case study for Masterclass recently. for Video Traffic X. In fact, I created a brand new Vimeo account and uploaded a video to it and ranked it on the first page in a matter of, I don't know, 12 hours, 14 hours. It was on page 1. Vimeo. So I've never had that problem. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying I don't know enough about Vimeo. I don't use it enough to know whether that's a common issue or not. Anybody else know?
Yeah, I don't use Vimeo that much, right? So I'm kind of guessing here. But the only way to know if there's an internal, if there's an internal sandbox would be to do a search for the video in Vimeo. Because if it doesn't appear on the internal search, then it's Vimeo that's sandboxing the video.
Yeah, you mean from a fresh account or in a browser where you're not logged in. Or you mean right, okay.
Or no, inside Vimeo.
Right, but in a browser that you're not logged into Vimeo, right?
This is how we look for our sandbox Twitter accounts,
right.
or one of the ways. We do a search for our posts or our tweets and anything that we've done inside of Twitter and see if it appears on the internal search engine. If it doesn't, then you're sandboxed.
Yeah, but again, I'm not sure why Sky it didn't index. I mean, like Marco just said, if it's an internal thing and it wasn't like the Vimeo wasn't giving you a public URL or something, that could be it, but I don't know for sure. The other thing you could do is just submit the URL directly to Google. You know, go to the crawl URL. Just go to Google and search for submit URL Google or Google submit URL, and you'll get the crawl URL link. Just click on that. You got to be logged into a Google account, and then you just submit the URL directly to Google Search Console. Okay, that's another way, because that's going to force them to index it if it's not, got like a robots.txt or something on it saying not to index it. You know, a no index tag on it. So, let's see, he says, any change on the algo? I think there's a shift in the sheer number of embeds to the quality of the site. Yeah, well, that's a shift that's been occurring, Sky. There is, I mean, obviously, if you brute force the number of embeds, like what Holly Cooper is famous for, you can still get results with that. And a lot of people, like in the video that do a lot of video marketing, are using tools like, what's the one that people are using now? Money Robot.
Yeah, Money Robot.
A lot of video embed stuff,
and
that's
Money Robot. Yeah, FCS is still, but Money Robot. Yeah.
Yeah, and so those are all like, I mean, those are like just brute force embeds. In other words, it's just like as many places as you can get the video as possible, and that still helps. But you know, we've been trending towards having higher quality sites for 2 years now, and that's what works, in my opinion, better because it requires less overall embeds. If the embeds are on higher quality sites with better metrics.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and this ties up with Michael's question also, because you can have a ton of embeds, or you can have one strong branded channel, you know.
Yep.
And you can have a ton of secondary tier networks, or you can have one strong branded tier 1 network. The main idea here is that your embeds not only bring you embeds, but also bring you views and traffic. So you can, I mean, both will, I think, pretty much take you the same amount of effort and resources to build, but you know, one is much more valuable to the viewer, to the user, than the other.
Yeah, and it's also more valuable to you as the the digital asset owner, because if you're building higher quality sites that they're more long term, they have more longevity. You see what I'm saying? They're more valuable than a bunch of just orphaned accounts, as I call them, that you're using for spam purposes. You know, again, you're building an asset that you're going to have long term. You're going to be able to use over and over again, and that to me is a much better, it's a much more solid business foundation to build your business upon. Okay. So hopefully that helps. Again, don't get me wrong, guys. Spamming embeds, it still works, but you just need so many of them. And the problem is, that they don't really last all that long. A lot of times those accounts get terminated, and then you still start seeing your ranking slip. So it's, in my opinion, it's better just to go ahead and work on. It takes a little bit more effort up front to get them set up properly with branded networks or themed networks that you take the time to build up. But that's going to help. And then, like Hernan said, one of the big factors for ranking videos and even websites or web pages today is user engagement. So user metrics. And so again, if you can get like real traffic to any of those videos, that's going to help too, without needing as many embeds. You know, like I said, I've showed several times some examples of, you know, I can jump over here for a minute and let's just bring this up. This is one that I show all the time as an example because it just works really well. This is a video that I ranked, and it's funny. I was just telling the guys I get questions. I got 2 calls this week already for people looking for SEO services in Virginia, and and just from this video, and then also from a Google site that I have ranked for SEO Virginia. But this video right here is ranked, and it was mainly done. I mean, you know, it went through my initial network that syndication networks, the IFTTT networks. But other than that, I really didn't do a whole lot of SEO other than spammed user metrics, which was basically what I call CT spam, click-through spam, using crowd search. But it's basically user metrics that have got this video ranked, and it's been ranked for months now, guys, and I haven't done a damn thing to it since. I've still got the click-through spam campaign set up and running. That just runs all the time in the background, but it doesn't cost me very much for that, and it's just ranking. Look at that, position number 3, right? So anyways,
Nice.
That's just an example. All right, back to it. All right, next, Kevin says, hello, I'm new to IFTTT and been doing this stuff for 3 weeks. I already set up a few recipes, but I don't see Pinterest in your list. Yeah, Kevin, because I don't use Pinterest. Everything that I just honestly, it's not something that I use because it's all image-based, and you know, I work in the text-based world and the video world, so it's not something I've done anything with for Pinterest. So.
Yeah. But and you know what? Oh, that's probably a good cue for us to add it to
the new one.
training.
Yeah.
Yeah, to the new one because well, Kevin also posts the way to have that recipe going, and I've managed to pull that off. You know, depending on the category where you post, it will repost it to a board. You know, because Pinterest it works with boards. So depending on what category you're posting, it will post to export. So that would be probably a good idea to add it.
Yeah, I'm just reading the rest of this. For the rest of the post, I only had a featured image, i.e. one image, and no additional images embedded in the blog post itself. Is this a clue as to what's happening, or did I set up? Again, Kevin, I honestly can't comment on this because I've never set up a Pinterest recipe, not even once. So, unfortunately, man, I can't help you with that. However, like Hernan just mentioned, we're going to be redoing IFTTT SEO Academy version 2 or 2.0 we're going to call it, and it's going to be completely redone with a whole bunch of additional stuff that we've developed, you know, or into our strategy in the course of the last year. Because remember, we launched the IFTTT SEO Academy in January of this year, so it's damn near been a year, and we'll probably relaunch version or 2.0 next month in January. Hopefully, I'm going to try to get it done by then, and there's going to be a hell of a lot of additional stuff in there besides just what we had in this current version. So we'll cover that in there too. That's something that we'll take into account. Okay. Ray says, how to outrank other Serp Shaker ATM sites. Does building links to such sites help? Where should I point links to? Root, domain, category pages, inner pages, or maybe a sitemap? All right. I don't do any sort of link building to Serp Shaker or ATM sites, guys. To me, it's a complete waste of time. Yes, you might be able to get a boost out of it. You probably would. But at any moment, those sites can be de-indexed. And so you've pissed a bunch of time and effort away on pushing links to something that could be de-indexed at any moment. Now, I know there's sites out there, guys, that have Serp Shaker sites and ATM sites that have been up for years and that are still there and still generating traffic. I don't count on any of them ever having any longevity. I take advantage of the traffic that they produce while they're there, and then, you know, obviously if I find some that are successful, I just build more sites targeting those same keywords, just on different domains, so that I can end up blanketing the first page with you know, my own sites, my own ATM pages or Serp Shaker pages. I use the ATM, but they're, you know, very similar, both of those products. So my point is I just don't waste the time on it. If you wanted to point links at your site, I don't recommend it, but if you were going to do it anyways, yeah, there, you know, obviously like category pages would be a good place to do it. That way it would hit all of the posts within that category. So that's a good way to do it. A sitemap's not a bad idea. I haven't really tested that, but that's not a bad idea either, is to hit the sitemap with some links. Mm-hmm. What do you think, Hernan?
Well, I think that, yeah, I mean, I've been playing with Serp Shaker back in the day and also with Mass Page Creator, which would be, you know, basically the same, but with HTML sites. And yeah, you know, they can get hit, so I just don't waste my time, but you can always have a couple of big authority domains or whatever ready to 301, or you can build links through 301s and redirections so that every time a site goes down, you can 301 that link shoes. But yeah, I mean, if as long as they are not part, or you take them as they are, like secondary sites that they are, ready to be de-indexed in any time. So yeah, you can build links to a sitemap if you would.
Yeah, and here's the thing. What I've been doing recently is buying expired domains that already had metrics that were already in that same niche, that same theme. So they were essentially had backlinks already pointed to them. And we use domain crawlers to find these domains. And then I go to Majestic and I check the metrics for the domains that I'm looking at purchasing, and I just pick them up for $10 at Namecheap because they were already expired and they weren't purchased. But what I do is I take them and I go take a look at the backlink profile. Doesn't need a lot of backlinks. All I'm really looking for is the topical trust flow. What is not even the score of the topical trust flow. I'm just looking to see what the inbound links pointing to that domain, what type of sites they're coming from. So are they topically relevant? Are the inbound links pointing to that domain topically relevant to what I'm going to be building on that domain? And I've been doing that a lot because I build a lot of ATM sites, guys, and I've been doing that with buying expired domains that are topically relevant or have topically relevant inbound links already pointed to the domains, and that way I'm seeing a really good boost from that. Instead of using brand new domains, I'm using domains that already had some age to them and inbound links that were within the same topic. Okay, that's been really beneficial. Wayne Clayton is giving people epilepsy. Thanks for that. All right, next is Ed.
Scroll quickly by that.
Hey guys, is there a way to go to our YouTube channel and make an adjustment so our lead gen videos are not visible to the competition that may be interested? I don't think so, Ed. I'm not 100% certain on that, but I don't think so. That could be a channel setting thing, but I think if your videos are public, if somebody clicks on the videos tab on your channel, it's going to show whatever videos are public anyways.
Right. Yeah, because the competition will search as a user is searching. They will search like in Google and YouTube, and if they can't see you, neither can the user.
Yeah. Well, you only have three options. You have public, unlisted, and private. Unlisted means it won't be indexed in Google or YouTube. Anybody with the link can view it, but it won't be indexed, so you won't be able to find it in YouTube or Google search.
Right.
But private, you have to be invited to see it, and it's very similar to like how Google Plus is. So you have to actually be invited to be able to view the video, or it will say if somebody has the link and they click on it and they have not been invited to view the video, then it'll give them an error message that you cannot be viewed. But unlisted just means that it won't be indexed in Google or YouTube, but anybody with the link can see it. So your only other option is public. Okay. Which, by the way, guys, if you're doing like client work or lead gen work and you're doing videos and somebody decides to stop paying you, well, if it's lead gen, it should have your own branding, your own like virtual phone number that you can redirect, that kind of thing. But if you're doing client work and they decide to stop paying you, which happens from time to time, instead of deleting the video from your YouTube channel, unlist it. Because if you've already syndicated it across various networks, those are all backlinks and embeds that are funneling juice back into your channel. So you don't want to delete those videos. You want to just unlist them, so it makes them fall out of the index, but it still keeps the juice flowing into your channel. Okay. All right. If I do, let's see. He says to clarify, if you want to obviously make the viewing ability to see them, but channel private, but the video themselves private in the SERPs. Yeah, no, it won't work that way, Ed. Unfortunately. If I do number one, can that affect the SEO of the video since they can't be seen visually on my channel? Yeah, again, actually, guys, even videos that are unlisted will pass internal link juice, like I just mentioned, and private as well. So, but they won't be visible again to the public unless, well, unlisted can be if people have the URLs, but private no. But they'll still pass, in the description area if you've got links built and stuff like that. That will all still count. Okay. Could you go over quickly how to handle clients where you build them a YouTube channel and where you have their videos you have ranked on your channel, and the different ways to price each one and the things we need to keep control over so we don't get taken advantage of all the time? All right, well, I don't build channels for clients unless they pay me a really high premium, because it's just not something that I do because there's no incentive. I've been burned too many times, Ed, in the past, where people have, I've done work for somebody and they, get them results, and then they decide that they forget that they needed me to get those results, so they stop, decide that they don't want me, or they're going to go hire some jackass down the street for $100 less a month than what I'm charging. And so, and that kind of stuff, I don't allow that to happen anymore. So I build my own networks, my own YouTube channels, and then if a client wants a channel, like a branded channel, that's fine. I mean, they can have their own channel. I'm just not doing any SEO work to it. You know what I mean? Like, if they have a video and they want to upload their video to their own channel, that's fine. But if they want the video ranked, I'm ranking it through my channel in my networks. Period. End of story. There's not even a discussion, unless they insist, in which case I insist that they pay me a hell of a lot more. Okay? And that's just because it protects my work. It protects my time. And as far as pricing, it depends. I don't have any pricing, set pricing for that kind of stuff. It's always custom. It's on a case-by-case basis. It depends. How much can they afford? I mean, that's what it comes down to. It's what's the competition level? How much work is it going to take? What is the revenue potential that a ranked video or website, for that matter, could generate for their business? And then I base my pricing on that. Okay. Wanted to thank you, Nana, for sending the Hump Day Hangout on Tier 2 RSS feeds. It helped me very much. In that video, you mentioned if you were going to use all persona-based IFTTT rings in the network, there was no need to do all the extra RSS feed creation to the Tier 2 ring, and just have them feed the Tier 1 Blogger, WordPress, Tumblr accounts and surrounding social accounts on each Tier 2 ring. Question: would it be worth it to take the time from an eventual ranking standpoint for video syndication, not blog posts, to do it anyway, or am I just wasting time doing so? At this point, Ed, you'd be wasting your time. I can't tell you what Google's going to do today or tomorrow. 2 weeks from now, they could decide that they don't like YouTube footprints anymore, and it could be an issue. And in that case, having those additional content sources set up for your Tier 2s could prevent that from being an issue. But as it stands right now, and it has been for as long as I've been doing this, there are no footprint issues with YouTube as far as the way that we set up our YouTube syndication networks. If you start adding the content from the video description gets republished across those networks, that will create a footprint and it will cause problems. But if all you're doing is publishing the embed with maybe a link back to the YouTube video itself, or the playlist, or the channel, or all three, then I've not had any negative experience with that whatsoever, and it still works, and so I don't waste my time setting up additional content triggers for Tier 2. If that makes sense. Could you quickly explain the use or need for a branded IFTTT video syndication ring for our own use in lead gen? I already know and understand why we would do this for a client's YouTube channel or a website, but still do not understand the relevance from our own network for ranking other people's videos in our own lead gen events. Thanks very much. Okay, that's getting back to what you just asked about question number 3. Is I build a brand around a YouTube channel, and then eventually, if it starts to generate revenue for me, then I'll build an associated website too. But my point is like, for example, I've used like Virginia Hangouts. That's something that I use on occasion, but it's a branded channel that I use to rank other people's videos. Okay, and so it's my channel. I control it. And I built that up, and it's just my own. It's just a brand. It's just basically, if I wanted to be 100% correct about it, I would have a doing business as a DBA for that. And you can do that. It depends on how serious or how much you're going to scale it. But I recommend creating a brand, because Google favors brands, guys. They do. There's no question. So if you're going to build a YouTube channel, you should brand it, not just some stupid keyword. You should get a logo created. Make it a branded type name, like an actual viable type business name. Call it a marketing or promotions or publicity company. You know what I mean? Like, you could call it Georgia Publicity. I don't know. I'm just making this up. But my point is you can create a brand out of your channel that then you start to build up. And if you were in Georgia, you could basically promote any videos for any businesses that were in Georgia on that channel that way. That's one way to do it. There's another, you could do plumbing publicity, plumber publicity, and you could promote plumbing videos from anywhere in the world across your plumbing publicity YouTube channel. Does that make sense? But that way you control it, and it's your brand, it's your asset that you're building up, not the client's. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a time and a place for that as well, but I try to always build up my own assets first. Okay? Does anyone want to add to that? I just want to make sure I'm hitting all the angles here.
Yeah. No, I think that you nailed it because we are repeating time and time again that you should be working on your own properties. I mean,
That's right.
that should be your main aim. And while your contract lasts and when your relationship with a client lasts, you provide him with results. It's just as any other service provider out there. You hire a CPA, you hire a lawyer, you hire a doctor. They will provide you a service as long as you keep hiring them. So I think that's a good point.
Yep. So just build your own assets, Ed, and that's the best way to go. I mean, whether you're ranking other people's videos or doing your own lead gen videos, it doesn't matter because it's your channel, right? It's your channel. You can take other people's videos, even if they have their own video on their own channel. You can tell them, yeah, sure, I can rank that for you. I'm going to rank it on my channel, though, because my network is such that it's been built to that point to where I'll be able to rank it very quickly. It's connected to video broadcasting networks where, all that. You want to dumb it down for them, but my point is that's what I say. Hey, look, yeah, sure, I can rank your video, but I'm going to rank it in my channel because my channel's attached to some very strong networks that I've built up over the years, and that's going to be what ranks your video. And all you do is take their video, download it, and upload it to your channel. That's it. You don't have to do anything else to it. It's fine. You can have the same. There is no duplicate content issues with YouTube when you're uploading the same video to different channels. It's when you try to upload the exact same video to the same channel that it causes the issue. It'll flag it and it won't even allow it. YouTube won't allow it. Now you got to make sure though that you have permission from the people that you're doing that. Let me give that disclaimer. You can't just take somebody's video and upload it on your channel because then somebody could report you to YouTube and they'll terminate your channel. You need to have permission from your client. And also, if your client had a video production company create the video, you need to make sure that the video production company is giving you permission to do that as well. Seriously, because believe it or not, there are a lot of video production companies that will produce a video for a client, a small business, and they'll own the rights to it, and even though the business paid for it, they'll allow them to use it, but the video production company actually owns the rights, very much like a photographer would with a lot of their own photos. So same thing, you just got to make sure that's clear. So when you're talking to a business owner, find out, do you have access to, or do you have rights to republish that video wherever you choose? And make sure that they, produce a document that says so. A lot of the times there will be like an actual, like a copyright waiver or whatever that you have, and that they'll have. And if they don't, you can ask them to get one, which means they just might have to call the video production company and ask for that. All right, that's just to protect you. All right, this is a long question. Let's go. I see YouTube clamping down on channels lately, and many people have told me they have lost channels in the past few weeks for no good reason, according to them, for no good reason, that is. I can't prove that. Just wondered what your thoughts were on this, and if there are good practice that we can do to add to our current strategies to help avoid this as much as possible. Though Google wants pretty much. Just wondered what you guys think about the latest attack. I've only had one channel ever, not even terminated. I had one that got a strike about, I don't know, a month ago, 6 weeks ago now. It was the first time I've ever received a strike, and I think it was because of a competitor was pissed about the so many videos, and so I honestly don't know. I've heard of other people. I've heard some horror stories about that. All I could say is that as long as you're not being too spammy with your channel, you shouldn't have a problem. If you do, then you can dispute it. It's not a very fun process, but I know that you can dispute it, and if you've got enough, if you weren't doing anything too black hat, then you should be able to get it restored as long as you can prove that it wasn't a spam channel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just to chime in on that, Bradley, I think that this comes back to the thing that we were saying about building your own assets, because having our YouTube channel, a powerful YouTube channel, it's important. It's an asset, but it's YouTube's.
That's right.
It's part of YouTube land. It's a piece of real estate that you are renting on YouTube's land, and this happens to pretty much everything that you have out there. If you have a big Twitter following, if you have a big Facebook page, and I've talked about it. But the main point is that you can leverage on the traffic and the views that your channel is getting, as long as they are getting it.
That's
And
right.
this is something that we should be also educating our clients about that. You know, they do not own their YouTube channel. It's YouTube. It's a parasite. You know, so have that in mind. If you really want to protect your YouTube channel, make everything as pristine as possible, make everything branded as possible, and have some real interaction. And the best way to do that is to actually give value to the viewer. You know,
That's right.
and that will be my 2 cents on protecting your own company of having your YouTube channel shut down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
another thing is add your YouTube channel to Google AdWords, and then set up some video ads, even if you're not spending much. You know, set it up for like $1 a day, so that because if you're spending money with AdWords, guys, they treat you differently. I don't care whether they admit to it or not, they do. So, setting up some YouTube ads or AdWords for videos will help to protect your channel too. It doesn't give you the free reign or the license to just be completely spammy, but it will help.
yeah, and take the time to back up your stuff. If you're not saving your videos, there are ways to download videos original quality from your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So
Last one is, are there any public recipes for Tier 2 video syndication networks available in a Google Sheet like the one for Tier 1 accounts? Thank you. They're all the same, Ed. There's no difference between Tier 2 and Tier 1 recipes. They're the exact same. So there's no difference at all. Remember, IFTTT is just a trigger and an action. That's it. It's a very linear process. If this happens, then that happens. So the recipes are the same. There's no difference. And remember, your Tier 2 networks are triggered by your blog your RSS feeds from your Tier 1 blog accounts, which would be Blogger, Tumblr, and WordPress. Okay, so on Tier 2, you're going to use the RSS2 recipes, not the video syndication recipes. Dan Bartholomew says, I need to transfer a website currently hosted elsewhere on a Yola platform to my name servers. On a Yola platform to my name server, so I can rebuild the website using WordPress. I realize I need to do a 301 redirect to maintain current rankings in local area, and I have a sitemap of the current site for all pages that are ranking, although I'm only familiar with doing 301 redirects from my own properties all on WordPress. Is there something you can clarify for me as far as how to do 301 redirects in this type of situation? I'm not really following you, Dan.
I think
Well,
he's just saying he needs to do it. He's got the site built out on Yola, but he wants to recreate the site on WordPress and needs to 301 from Yola to self-hosted.
But if you have that domain, you have control over the domain, and you build that site on WordPress, you're going to have to point the domain to your own hosting account for WordPress anyways, and that's going to do it. There is no 301 redirect because it's the same domain.
Yeah.
I think what he's saying is transferring 301, from the Yola website back to the new WordPress platform or wherever the WordPress site is going to be hosted. How does
So
he
you mean it
transfer
might be like a subdomain on Yola? Is that what you mean?
Well, if that's the case, then it will depend on Yola goodwill to do that. You know, if they allow you to, I mean, I'm assuming they will allow you to make some changes to the HTML so that you can replicate, you can design your own websites. If that's the case, you can always make a refresh or make a JavaScript 301. It's not the best way to do it, but it's better than nothing. But again, if you have your own domain, then you can 301 it via HT access.
Yeah, but again, if you've got your own domain pointed to Yola, and you're using a custom domain, right? So like a domain that you purchased, and it's you've got your Yola built site, but it's using your own custom domain, and then you point that domain to your own server for a standard WordPress installation, then there is no 301 redirects needed, because all the backlinks that are already pointed to that domain will remain pointed to that domain.
But isn't Dan in our mastermind?
I think so. So yeah, Dan, that's a little bit more advanced, and we've got
we might be able to take it up tomorrow during the mastermind.
Yeah. Yeah, and by the way, we're going to be starting a hot seat soon. Everybody was really looking forward to that. We're going to start doing interviews with mastermind members and basically putting them in the hot seat. It's all voluntary, but putting them in the hot seat to analyze their business, find out where it currently is, where they want to take it, and then we're going to give them advice on how to get there. And that we're going to start that very soon. So
as well as some interviews with some industry experts, which we're starting. I honestly forget when. Tomorrow. That's right.
Tomorrow. Yeah.
Tomorrow. Yep.
Brian Tucker on tomorrow.
Yeah, it's gonna be a killer.
Yep. All right, Brian says, still trying to find an RSS feed, and I told him try this. I was kind of being a smart ass, but
Brian, I also linked something up top to you if you're on right still. To the we went over this last week, so if you didn't catch it, I linked to the video clip where we answered that. So.
Yeah, and Brian, there literally that's all I did was just went to Google and asked him like how to create our RSS feed from a list of URLs, and if you just go through there, I mean that's the only thing I would do is just go through there until I found something that worked. I'd test a couple things until I found something that worked. So, okay. All right, next. What is the best tools for creating multiple IFTTT accounts, social media accounts, etc., using proxies manually? Dana,
Yeah.
I mean that's what we do. That's the best way to do it. Unfortunately, there's a really cool tool out. I haven't played with it much, but I did pick it up. It's called Browse SEO or Brow SEO, I think it's called. That's something that will help to speed up the process if you're doing this on your own. There's also another one. What's it called? Autofill Magic. It's a plugin. Browser
Autofill
plugin.
Magic. Yeah, but it's semi-automatic.
Semi-automatic, right?
Yeah. There are some advanced stuff that you can do with Xenoposter Pro, I think, and then RankerX, but you need to know how to script and do all of those nasty shit that I don't know how to do, so I'd rather hire my VAs.
Yeah, I just outsource it.
Yeah.
There's also some stuff like the form fillers. You can use or have your PAs use. Yeah, that's gonna really save you time. So.
Yeah, I mean that's that. You can semi-automate that stuff, but I still recommend doing the actual account creations and stuff, manually. Even if you're using like Autofill Magic or LastPass, RoboForm, anything like that, which you can create profiles within those. Like LastPass, for example, you can create user profiles and fill out all the details in that, and it'll fill the forms very quickly. That's something that you can do, but I still recommend that you manually build them because the problem with using automated tools to create the accounts and everything is that they end up getting terminated very quickly. I think there's something in the sites to identify those as being auto-created accounts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you don't want to build them yourself anymore and you don't want to hire a team, head over to SerpSpace. So.
Yeah, go to SerpSpace, and we got our team that builds them. When they build them quick and they build them right, so that's it. Networks.iftttseo.com.
Boom.
Dan says, is there a problem with having the same phone number being used on test channels used for Hangout Millionaire and then use the same phone number with my money channel? Yeah, I wouldn't do that, Dan, because if depends on what you're using Hangout Millionaire for. You can use it in a less than a not so spammy way, but I use it to spam. I'm not gonna lie, I use it to spam for the most part, and so for that I would just use a different phone number. Remember, you can get a virtual phone number from like Callfire for $1 a month, or Vumber or Phone.com or anything like that, Twilio, anything like that. I would use a secondary phone number that would forward to the first anyways, like your original number, if it's going to be a money channel number, so that you're not, putting out a whole bunch of spam videos with the same phone number. That's just my take on it. I don't know that it would cause any problems, but I wouldn't want to take the chance. So. Dana says, question, what's the best bang for your buck call tracking service out there? That's right, good follow-up. Looking to sell phone leads to local businesses, wondering if you found one that has unlimited phone numbers where you would just pay for the minutes usage every month. Dana, I am still using Callfire just because I got started 5 years ago using Callfire. Actually, originally I started with Vumber, but it wasn't I love Vumber. I like the interface even way better, but it's more expensive, especially when you start getting dozens of phone numbers. But I use Callfire. It's not the most cost effective, I can tell you that. I think Twilio is a lot cheaper.
Yeah, it depends what you're doing. That's something too you should be able to pass on to the customer. So.
Yeah. Well, unless you're doing lead gen, and then it's your expense, but you just make it up in the leads that you sell. So I don't know. I think Twilio is probably one of the better routes to go. Maybe some others here can post on some other suggestions. I just know
I've been. Dan had one. ACT.
Yeah. But ACT, the analytic call tracking, doesn't that use Twilio as its backbone though?
I
think
not
it does, because isn't that Joe Troyer's thing? I think it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is Joe Troyer's thing, and it uses Twilio in the back.
Yeah, it uses Twilio as the actual number provider, the phone number provider. So that's probably the cheaper route to go. I have that, by the way. I've just never used it because I never took the time to set it up. I've got all my shit through Callfire.
There was also something called Call2 or something like that. And they had like the full tracking, and they also had a couple of SEO features, but I'm not sure if it still exists.
Yeah. Kevin says, sorry, I have another question. Oh, did I just miss one? Yeah, I did miss one. First one, I found a great website that is in the business niche, but a different sub-niche than my business money site, and the site I found has a lot of blog articles with trust flow over 20 that I can comment on. How many times can I post link to my IFTTT social media and PBNs from all these juicy blog articles before it becomes a big footprint? If it's from the same domain, in other words, if you're going to post multiple comments on the same domain, the same blog essentially, then I would say I typically don't like to get more than 5 links from the same domain, just personally, because I think after 5 Google counts them all as one anyways. So that would be my threshold, Kevin. Would be no more than 5 comment links from the same domain.
Right, and
hold on, just 1 second. Although let me clarify that though, because from an SEO standpoint, that's what I'm saying. But from a traffic driving standpoint, it's fine to post as many as you want, because if you're posting comments in a thread that's going to drive traffic back to you, then forget about the SEO. People could click that link and come back to your site because it makes sense. Then you could do it as many times as you want. For example, Moz or Search Engine Journal or something like that. Those are all big sites that there's times where we're going to post comments that, I'm not going to just stop at 5 on Moz because it's no more SEO value, right? I'd want those comment links to potentially drive traffic back to me, so I could post hundreds of comments over the course of time. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and sometimes you get these long conversations on the comments, and you cannot go. You need to go further than just 5. Just because to keep on the conversation on the comments, the discussion that's happening on the comments is really important, and it can bring you a ton of traffic. So yeah.
Yeah, that's my point. I'm just saying from a strictly SEO standpoint, I think it's 5 is the number, and then they all count as basically 1 anyways, so it doesn't really matter. But from a traffic standpoint, if it makes sense, yeah, absolutely, keep posting comments. And guys, blog comments work. They work for SEO as well as also for driving traffic. They're still valuable. Just don't create your name as the keyword when you're filling. Use your actual real name or the persona's name for that site or whatever. Try to make it look real, or it's going to get moderated out anyways.
Was Marco commenting on Neil Patel's blog, and we had a bunch of referrals from there?
Yeah.
He was adding a ton of value. He was adding a ton of value to the post that Neil Patel did, and we had a bunch of traffic thanks to Marco.
Don't tell people my secrets, man.
Oops. Sorry, I have another quick question. Using the same site in my previous question, if instead of building links to IFTTT properties, could I build those same juicy trust flow links to my RSS feed, link to pass the trust flow down the feed? Can I use that same site to build, say, 10 links, to 5 to RSS feeds and 5 to different IFTTT properties? Okay, in that case, then yeah, remember, if you're going to be building the actual link to an IFTTT property, my question is, if you're going to be leaving a blog comment on a site, I guess if it's not 100, if it's not relevant enough, I wouldn't point it directly to my money site. But typically, I point blog comment links directly. When I'm taking the time to put an actual value-added comment to the thread, then I always point it back to my site, directly to the money site. Okay. If you're doing more of a spammy type thing, then yeah, I would go ahead and point to your IFTTT properties. Pointing links to your RSS feed, they'll probably get moderated out. So I don't recommend that. I'm not saying it wouldn't work, but there's a chance that it get moderated out if somebody clicks on it and it goes to a feed page instead of an actual site. Although you could test it. Kevin, try it. It's not going to hurt anything, man. Give it a shot. Dana, we're almost out of time, guys, so we're going to try to roll through a few more. Can I explain a little bit more in depth what defines a site as Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3? Well, your money site's ground zero, Dana. Tier 1 would be anything linking to your money site. Tier 2 would be anything linking to Tier 1. Tier 3 would be anything linking to Tier 2. Very simple, right? So ground zero is your money site. Anything linking directly to your money site is a Tier 1 property. Anything linking to your Tier 1 properties is Tier 2. And on down the line it goes. Matt says, if you want to rank for multiple keywords, should you create a link network for each keyword? For instance, one of my clients is a car dealership, so would I want to build a network for each keywords such as Edmonton Toyota Corolla or Edmonton Toyota Camry? No, Matt, that's way too much work, buddy. You don't need to do that. Build a network about Edmonton Toyota, and then you could post to that same network for every single make and model. or every single model within Toyota, or better yet, how about Edmonton used cars or Edmonton cars, something like that, and then you could post from various makes as well as not just Toyota. You know, guys, don't overthink it. Remember, you know, we as SEOs always want to overcomplicate shit. Try to keep it simple if you can. I mean, there's a time and place where it has to get complicated, but try not to make it complicated right out of the gate because it makes it too difficult to scale. Okay, Bill Thomas, what platform do you use for your trainings? We use Value Add-on. That's what we've been using for most of our training courses. The membership areas are the Value Add-on. It's a good service. Robert says, do you have a chance to revisit WP Tweet Machine? I wish I did, Robert, but with Thanksgiving last week, no, and now I'm underwater trying to get caught up for not working for 5 days because of Thanksgiving, so I don't know when I'm going to get to that, Robert. I did pick it up, as I often do, shiny objects, and it may sit on my hard drive and collect digital dust for the next 2 years before I decide to delete it, so I don't know that I'll even get to it, but I did pick it up, so. All right, we'll do just a couple more. Bill, no, seriously. Yeah, well, we do Hangouts for this, but we do for our membership areas, like for the premium content. That's all inside of Value Add-on. But for everything else, it's Google Plus. I love Google Plus, although I'm not real keen on the new interface. But I'm a serious advocate for Google Plus and always have been. So. All right, Robert says I bought this is the one we already talked about. Plus one that. Would it be wise to syndicate pages of the money site to the branded Tier 1 network as well? That's what we do. Well, okay, pages, I'm sorry. No, I don't typically do that. You can, but I don't usually do that. I usually just wait till the site is built, right? The pages are more static, so I usually build the site first and then, you know, with the pages. And if you got to add pages, that's fine. But I use the blog for syndication. You can do it, though, however. If you use a plugin like RSS pages or RSS includes pages or something like that, there are plugins that will do that. You just got to be careful because you got to set up filters and stuff, or else it will syndicate like not when remember also, guys, when you add an RSS feed to IFTTT, it will not syndicate existing content. It will only syndicate new content. So like if you're doing it right off the bat, like you're starting a brand new website and you want to include pages, then and you use a plugin like includes pages, just you got to be careful because remember, like privacy policy, terms of service, contact, about us, those types of pages will get added into the feed too, unless you set up particular filters. And some plugins will have that functionality and some will not. So what I typically do is build the site out first, and then I will add, you know, if I'm going to add additional pages that I want to syndicate, then I'll do that. I'll do it at that point. Okay. What is that? Spam reading something? I can't even figure out what that is. All right, we'll do one more and we're done because we got to run. Hi, Adam. If you got, did you answer this, Adam?
I'm looking right now. Let's see, which one is this? No, we did not.
Okay, if you guys have time, I have this question that I forgot. I ordered a full 2-tier IFTTT video syndication network from you guys and have 3 of my own 3 persona rings I built and are completed. He built 3. That's pretty good, Ed. Is it best to attach them to the brand new primary YouTube channel from the network you guys built for me as another Tier 1 network, or add the 3 rings as other Tier 2 networks? Still a bit confused on how to attach these accounts I built. Thanks. You can attach them as Tier 1s. You know, I found that usually what I do is I'll build the Tier 1, and then there's the 3 Tier 2s, and that's how I'll start. And then when I go to stack another set of networks, then I'll stack another full 2-tier network. So I'll have 1 ring that will be a Tier 1, and then there will be an additional 3 Tier 2s. So, for example, Ed, what I would suggest doing, I mean, you can attach all 3 single rings as additional Tier 1 rings. So that would give you a total, if you have 1 full 2-tier network and you attach 3 additional Tier 1 rings, that would give you a total of 4 Tier 1 rings attached directly to that YouTube channel, and then 3 Tier 2 rings that are attached to or connected to your Tier 1, your branded Tier 1. And I know that's probably got everyone's head spinning. But what I typically do is do additional full 2-tier networks each time I want to continue building on top of a YouTube channel. So, Ed, in your case, if you had 1 more additional ring, you could do that. You could have 2 Tier 1s and 6 Tier 2s. Does that make sense? So, hopefully that makes sense. Anyways, if it doesn't, then there's always next week. So, okay, guys. That was a good one. A lot of questions. We appreciate it. Masterclass starts in about 2 minutes, so we will see you all next week. Thanks, guys.
Okay,
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.